Welcome to episode 1 of Next Gen Agent. I'm Bowie, and with me, the man this podcast was built around, Nathan Najib. How are we doing?
Good to be here, Bowie. It's nice to be here. We've had this vision for a long time, and here we are.
We have. Now, before we get into today's topic, and as it's episode 1, what is a Next Gen Agent, and why was this podcast built?
So the great agents are beyond 2024 and beyond are people who are, as I call them, the new generation of agents. There are a lot of agents, great agents in Christchurch. Unfortunately, what happens when you're amongst a whole lot of other agents that work, or as I call them, old school agents, they kind of disappear amongst them. So the new generation agent looks like humble, committed, competent, fit, healthy, easy to deal with, specialists, very professional, and they've got servants mentality. They work full-time, not part-time real estate agents. They are obviously committed to working every single day. They work on bettering themselves, getting better every single day. And rather than selling real estate part-time on the side, this is a serious thing for them. As I said, they're healthy, high energy, intensely trained, and backed by an amazing ethical brand, obsessed with customer service, and all around a genuine, good human being who are there to serve the community and do great work for their clients.
Nice. And that's what the company, just so everyone knows, Nathan has been in real estate, for 17 plus years now?
Almost 17 years, but
yeah.
It feels like I was a kid when I started. Like I was young. I was one of the youngest in the industry. Now I feel like a middle-aged man.
You're still young, getting better, like a fine wine. But yeah, Nathan's been doing this a long time, and he's done all the traditional methods of real estate. He's done the modern methods, and he knows what he's talking about. So there's a lot of, podcasts and educational YouTube channels out there. They haven't done it, but Nathan's done it. And I think you'll get a lot of valuable insights from this podcast. We'll be doing it weekly as well. So we'll be bringing you weekly insights. But yeah, that's a really good kind of description of the Next Gen Agent, definitely. And I think, just so everyone knows, this podcast is for real estate agents, and it is to become successful. We're going to teach you how to get more listings, more leads, but do it in an ethical way. And that's what the Najib brand stands for. One of the mottos here is the client always comes first. So nice. Okay, so let's get into it. Episode 1. I want this to be an episode that people come back to, and they can listen about your journey and where you started. Mm-hmm. So take me back to 18-year-old Nathan Najib, 19, and take me back to why you got into real estate and some of the struggles, some of the wins that you had, and take me through that journey up until now owning your own company.
I started, to be honest, I just fall into real estate. It's the whole journey has been like this. It's like the destiny has been just to go from one place to the next and to the next. And I just followed whatever this journey has taken me so far. It's been a great journey, Bowie. Hasn't been all rainbows and sunshine, I promise. I'm telling you. But it's been an amazing journey, nevertheless. So I started at 18 and 19 to start 2007, 2008. It's kind of similar kind of vibe like it is now. We were just coming off the peak because it was 2005, 2006, 2007 were not a good time. 2005, 2006 definitely was like the peak. And then I just came into the business. 2007, I got my license. Early 2008, I got started. How I fall into real estate, I meet a guy and he just thought you'll be a good salesperson. I'm not sure what he saw in me, but he thought I'd be a good salesperson. So I went to apply to his office. His office turned me down. He says, no, you're too you're too young. Back when I started real estate, now you see these young guys selling real estate, right? Back in 2007, 2008, it was all grey-headed male. I'm telling you. Yeah. And ladies or women who were retired, the husband had done well and they were working, and these were the women were looking after the kids, and they were just working in real estate part-time. That's what it was like. Yeah. Things have changed, thankfully. It's got better. But back then, that's what it was. So a guy like me at 18, 19, there was nobody like me, right? Mm-hmm. So I managed to get a job after a couple of 2 interviews in different places. They told me no. I went to a place. They gave me an opportunity to work in. And at 18, 19, nobody really thought I'll make it. And it was I don't know what was looking over me. Perhaps hard work. Mm-hmm. And whatever else it was, luck perhaps as well. I started doing okay. Like I would chase, because nobody in my family owned real estate. None of our relatives own real estate. Mm-hmm. And I'm at the time probably the only brown guy in real estate. Yeah. Back then, as I said, it would have been all older male and female who had done the husbands had done pretty good. They had good jobs and they were working just part-time. And I was like a guy that was totally different than what they have in the industry. Mm. Nowadays, it's pretty common. You see young guys, you see brown guys, you see Sri Lankan guys, you see Indian guys, you see all sorts, which is fantastic, right? It's more diverse. But back then, it wasn't. So they gave me an opportunity, and at 18, I started. And I remember my first listing, because nobody in the family owned real estate and I had no connection. I was only 18. None of my friends owned real estate. Even the family didn't own real estate, of course, because being immigrant from another country here, started from nothing. I would chase private sellers. Yeah. The private sellers would be on Trade Me. I'll chase private sellers. And I remember one first listing, there was one down Hume Street. A lady, Persephone, I still talk to Persephone. Hello, Persephone, if you're to this. And in fact, actually, Persephone might have gone into real estate as well briefly. And then she might have quit. Mm-hmm. But anyways, Persephone gave me an opportunity to list 2 units, 2 little units down Hume Street. Back then, it would have been probably worth 180, 190. Yeah. I never ended up selling those 2 properties because her expectation was too high. Yeah. But what happened was I got leads off the back of that. And then private sellers were my thing. And then 2-3 years later, I started doing pretty good. Mm-hmm. Perhaps persistent and disciplined. So you were 19
when you were doing these 2 units and starting to get leads from that?
Correct, yeah. So I'm 19 at this stage. And then the first year I started selling real estate, I was working in real estate. I was studying at uni, first year at university, and I was doing university because my father wanted me to go to uni. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a kid that would go to uni. It wasn't my thing, but I wanted to do it because my father wanted me to go to university. And then I was also driving taxi at night on Friday and Saturday nights. Okay. And I would go to the open home on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So once I started doing a little bit better, first year, by the way, I made $6,250 or whatever it was.
So were you living with your parents then? Or
at the time, thankfully, I was living at my parents' place. Yeah. And then I was also working, obviously, driving taxi, and at night I was making like, $700, $800. Back then it was a lot of money, $700, $800. Yeah. Still is like, if you're making $700, $800 now, it's pretty decent. Oh, but I was doing that in 2-3 days, driving taxis, right? That allowed me to do real estate on the side. Or on the side, it's like I was working like all hours. It was like I had 2 full-time jobs doing real estate and driving taxi on 3 days a week, 12 hours kind of day kind of things, right? So first year I made $6,250 or whatever it was. And then next year I made $48,000 because I got a bit of traction. I got these private sellers started working with me. I suppose the reason private sellers work for me was like I used to go there and say, hey, just give me an opportunity.
Yeah.
Just give me an opportunity because I'll sell the place for you. And the market was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Things were not selling. So they were giving an opportunity. And then you end up, they're like, okay, this guy's working pretty hard. And then you end up selling the house. And then off the back of that, my business, the real estate business, that's how it was built on, like private sellers.
Yeah.
So come 2002, I'm like now 2-3 years in the business. I started doing okay. And then now not too long after that, I became the number one agent where I was.
Wow. Yeah.
At like 22, 23, I was the number one agent in this big office. And so I started doing well. And then I thought about it, it's like, what else is it like? How was like real estate back then? It's still not how I would like it to be. It's not amazing. It's not great. Mm-hmm. It's not transparent as I like it to be. But back then it was worse. It was bad.
How was it? What type of things were they doing to sell homes? Dirty tactics. Yeah.
I can imagine that still goes in the old school traditional agencies, traditional companies still does. I can guarantee that. They were trained, the training was like, unfortunately, like, the hard kind of sales techniques, like, go and tell a vendor what the property is worth, overprice it, kind of give them a high expectation, list the property once you get it listed, and then you go back and kind of like say, hey, your house is not worth X amount, now it's worth X amount minus 100,000, right?
Yeah.
We didn't go right. I was like, what the hell, there's something wrong with this industry. So there was two options for me after I became the number one agent at the company that I was working for. Option number one was for me to leave, get out of this industry. Option number two was to work with a brand that actually would do things with integrity, transparency, and honesty. And at that time, I went to this conference called ARIC. If any agent hasn't attended this conference, and I'm not saying this because I know John McGrath, he's the guy that founded ARIC, Australian Real Estate Conference. But it's a place that you need to go if you want to grow, if you want to do things the better way, if you will, right?
Yeah.
It's like 5,000 agents, and these agents like the best of the best agents, like they speak in the conference. Mm-hmm. And they talk about transparency, honesty. So John McGrath was speaking in that conference. He was on stage. He talked about that you can be successful in real estate with integrity, honesty, and transparency. You can take care of people and still do well, still be financially very successful. And I said, this makes total sense to me. This is kind of like how I live my life. That's how I was brought up.
Yeah.
So I said, that kind of resonates with me. Mm-hmm. So as soon as I came back, I reached out to John. He was in Sydney. And I said, I need to come and see you. So I went to see John. And I asked John, I said, John, when are you going to open real estate office in Christchurch, in New Zealand, Christchurch? Mm-hmm. And John was like, we're not even thinking about it. Like, we still got our own Australia. Back then they were only, I think, New South Wales. They're not even in the Queensland area. We're not going to be there for a little while. He says, Nath, why don't you think about opening your own brand? I said, huh? I asked him, yeah. He said, yeah, you should open your own brand if you don't think you can resonate the agency that you're with. Mm-hmm. So kind of things I was thinking about creating my own brand, and I still didn't think like, there's no way I could open our own brand. It's too much of.
And how old are you now when you went to that conference and you met McGrath?
So I was 24 when I became the number one agent in the agency. I would have probably met John when I was 25, 26. Mm-hmm. And then, so I came back with this thing in my mind that I can open my own brand. So I started looking into that. And then in the office that I used to work for, they said, being the number one agent, they usually like to say he's a share of the company. Mm-hmm. So they don't want you to leave, obviously, right? So I said, once again, I got on the phone with John. I said, hey, what do you think? Should I buy into the brand? He said, what do you think? Like, how do you feel about the brand? Do you think the brand is in line with the way you see the world? I said, no, I cannot work. They're good people. Their vision is totally different than mine. I want to change this industry.
Yeah. And that's difficult to do, isn't it? Like when the money's there, you're getting a share into a big agency, but like to go your own way, not many people do that. So, yeah.
I feel like, if something is important enough for you, Bowie, you would do it. And when you take the leap, everything just kind of like, not instantly, but things fall in place. It just miraculously happens, especially if something's like a purpose, if your purpose is big enough. So I had an opportunity, obviously, to buy into the business. I had a conversation with these people. I said, no, I can't do this. I got up from the boardroom and left. And then I ended up, unfortunately, in that, for about 2.5 years, we had a court case because obviously they didn't want me to leave. And it was like, just got so ugly.
Yeah.
And in the midst of this, I'm creating our own brand. I'm creating Najib. So another 18 months, I went from this office to another office.
Yeah.
And then we started Najib. And it's been a journey since. And yeah, it's good to be doing what we're doing and to be able to do this stuff and be able to give back to the industry. I think it's the least we can do.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
And like you said at the beginning, a lot of real estate agents, they're part-time, they may fall off. Why do you think that? Is it a mindset thing? Because initially when you're first starting out, right, it is all about mindset. You don't have the skills to do it. So what was it about you that you think you made it, so to speak? Yeah.
I think made it. I think that there is, of course, you need to have when you're on a commission, they don't tell you that. When you go and start in a company, so they sell you all these rainbows and sunshine, right? The truth is, it's not like that. It's tough, but what it needs to do is we talk about this mindset system, and skill set. The three things you need to have the whole lot. So what happens when agents come into the business? So there's nice people and there's tough people. There's nice agents, there's tough agent. I think from my experience, it needs to be in the middle. Like nice people, it's hard to do sales. I know it's nice to, by that what I mean by nice is, you haven't got the resilience. You haven't got the determination. You're just a nice person, which is fantastic. Of course, you still want to be nice, but you still want to have the determination. You still want to have the push to be able to push through hard times. You still got to be able to say, okay, now it's not a 9 to 5 job anymore. If you come from a 9 to 5 job, you got to work 16 hours a day if it needs to be, right? So I think you can't be too tough, burning bridges and being tough on people and telling people lies. That's not the right thing. Nice sort of thing. You can be a good human being, 100%, but you still need to work on the mindset of to be able to persist and get across for the first 6 and a year or 2 years to create this reputation or the brand or the awareness. People need to get to know you as a good person. Is fantastic. Obviously, one of the things that I know is it's great. People want to know how nice you are, how good, decent human being you are first, and then they want to know how great you are.
Yeah.
Once you got those two combinations, are you competent and you're a good human being, you can do very well.
And did that mindset just come naturally to you? Was it from your background, obviously coming from Afghanistan and moving when you're 11? Was that just innate, or did you build that as you went through your career?
Yeah. I think that's a real good question. People ask me if anything is innate or nurture or nature, right? I feel like most of the things that everybody has, including me, has been worked on and has been like got better and better and better. And of course, like, when you're coming from a third world country and perhaps, a boxing background, it helps for sure, no question about it. But can a normal person, can just a person who hasn't been through what I've been through become resilient? I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so. Just a small disciplines at a time, right? Waking up slightly early, going home a little bit later, doing a little bit of hard workout, like having those cold showers, right?
Can we just actually talk about your day? Just give us a brief on your normal day, because it's quite crazy to probably a lot of people, but yeah.
So what I find, one of the things that I'm big on, like in the company as well as my life, is I'm very regimented, and I tell people, like, if you're doing something more than once, you've got to have a system, you got to have a routine. So my whole day is routine. And it works good because, like, everybody gets 24 hours. Like, you get 24, I get 24, everybody gets 24 hours, right? It's what you do with that 24 hours that counts, right? So I need to be so disciplined with that 24 hours that I get, so I can squeeze as much as I can out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm an early riser. I love going to bed early. I love to waking up nice and early. My day starts between 3:15 and 3:45. I wake up. I don't set alarm anything up. I wake up between 3:15 and 3:45. Obviously, I've been doing it for, as they say, a ritual becomes a routine, a habit of 66 days, and I've been doing it for years. So
yeah,
3:15, 3:45, I automatically get up.
That's insane. Yeah. I guess you get 6 hours, 7 hours sleep though. So
I get 6 hours, like no disruption sleep. Like, I sleep like a log right through that 6 hours. And it's not the hours of sleep, it's the quality of the sleep from what I've studied.
mm-hmm.
So 3:15, 3:45, I wake up. I will go do my meditation to start off with. I'll meditate for about probably around half an hour. And then a new ritual that I brought in, I go walk on ground. So I ground myself in grass, and I do deep breathing. Like, I'll breathe 15 times, 20 times, like. So I do that because good for your nervous system and for your lungs, and then I'll come back to the house. I'll do study for about 45 minutes, whatever topic I'm studying at the time, and then I will do my hard 45 minutes to an hour workout.
Mm-hmm.
I usually work out with a PT, or I'll do a hard run around the hills. And then I tell people, like, first time that I enjoy, like, is when I have my warm shower. I have a cold shower.
Yeah.
After my hard workout, I have a cold shower. And then the first time that I'm like, I can, like, then my morning is like, I'm ready for this day.
Yeah. You set yourself up mentally. Yeah.
100%. Like, what I say is, like, if when a soldier goes to a war, he puts his armor on, make sure everything is packed, make sure he's got eating nice healthy stuff, and then he goes to the war, right? And to be honest, like, it's like for me, it's like, I don't call it getting ready for a war. What I call it, like, getting ready mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. Because when I'm for the rest of the day, I'm serving.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serving, taking care of my clients. I'm taking care of my team members here. I'm like, I look at ways, how can I serve for the rest of the day? But in order for me to be able to do that, I've got to have my own oxygen mask and have my own, as they call it, jar filled. And then for the rest of the day, I do the morning meeting with the team, and at 8:30 we start that. So I'm in the office, by the way, but around 6:45, I'm ready for the day. And then between 6:45, 7:30, I'm finished. I'll have my smoothie for the morning. And then around 7:30 to 8 o'clock, I check my emails. Between 8 to 8:13, when I'd have 8:13, we call it, because 8:13 is the time that we talk to the team members. We do our daily manifesto. You familiar with that, Bowie?
We do too, yeah.
So when we do our manifesto, I call my vendors between 8 to 8:13, the current owners, because I still sell real estate. And then from 8:13 probably about 8:20 to about 8:45, we do our team huddle, our sales team huddle. And then from there, I'm on the phone. And now things have changed slightly. It's not prospecting alone just for the business. I'm prospecting for like other stuff, like, you know, looking for acquisitions, looking for recruitment, all those kind of things now. But back in the days, from like religiously from 9 o'clock till about 11:30 every day would have been prospecting, looking for business. And then for the rest of the day, I'm meeting and I'm at home about 8:30 every day, and in bed around 9 o'clock for me, lights out, after meditation and my journaling.
Yeah.
Full day. That's
You do that every day?
Yeah, to wrap up with a journal,
Yeah.
and I meditate to wrap up, and just I talk to the best way to reflect on a day is to write it down for me personally. So I write down what I did good, what could I do better, and then I'll meditate on doing things better the next day.
And when did you start this kind of ritual or this process? You know, back in the day when you're 22, were you doing this, or were you just kind of hustling, you know, to get the listing?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people fall into this trap, right, of the self-improvement. They're meditating, they're doing ice baths, and what they really should be focusing on building their skill set, maybe that's a better use of their time. So when did you start? Yeah.
I mean, the hard work never stops.
Yeah.
Like, you can do all the meditation, you can do all the everything that you get yourself ready, but if you haven't got the hard work, you haven't got a discipline to work like long hours, actually meeting clients, making prospecting calls, then there is you're not going to get anywhere, right? It's like you've got all your weapons, but you haven't got anybody to fight with, kind of thing, right? So I'm not a big fan of hustling. I never have been. It's like more of like, you know, how can we do things, work hard, add people into your list of people that you can serve later down the track, and then they will just fall through when they're ready to fall through, right? You can't push, like, you know, I've been in sales for like 17, 18 years now. You actually can't push people to buy or sell anything. It's just like when they feel like you are genuine, you're in touch with them, even when you start early, even when you start you've been in the business for a year, right? Rather than trying to get a listing today, yes, listing today is important, concentrate on that is okay as well. Perhaps chase private sales like I did, but everything else was about like, how can we have this long-term mindset so we can help people in the future? And things started falling after a few years. But we saw it.
Okay. I was talking to one of the agents, Shah here, and she came back from a holiday, and she said after it was like 6 months, and she was struggling to get a listing, and like that must be tough, right? If you're going for 6 months, you're cold calling people are saying no. It must be tough not to be forceful and just like step back. Obviously, she's doing great now, but I just thought it was interesting. Yeah,
I totally agree with you, Dora. I appreciate that. That's why you need such a good mentor that's there helping you, guiding you. And unfortunately, in our industry, there's no mentorship. When I got into real estate, like it is today, if an agent gets into the business, they'll just say, okay, here you go, here's your desk, like I did 17 years ago. Honestly, it's still the case.
Yeah.
Like you think it's insanity, but that's what it is. That's how real estate works. Okay, well, who cares? You're on commission anyways. You're not costing me anything. You've got this little cubicle, and good luck. Make your phone calls and see you at the top. That kind of mentality is still around.
Yeah.
So hence, I feel like it's very important to work with a mentor who's actually help you, guide you, and encourages you. Okay, it's okay. That's what it was like for 6 months, right? For me, I got my first listing 6 months later.
Yeah.
Right. So it's important to have, of course, mindset is important, but I feel like if you want to fast track anything, you need to find yourself a great mentor that can support you and show you the way.
Yeah. And that's what you do at Najib, don't you? I mean, you have a blueprint and they can follow that blueprint, take over a suburb eventually, keep consistent, and yeah.
Absolutely. And we got like A to Z of what to do from the minute you start until you become what we call as like an area specialist, like what we're doing here. Like, we sell most houses in West Melton. I do, right? So our goal is to create area specialists in every area. And we've got the blueprint for it. I just tell people, like, it doesn't make sense. Why the hell would you want to sort of run all around town and compete with 1,000 agents when you can just specialize this one area and take over it over time?
Yeah.
Right? It takes time. But once you take over it, once you're the dominant agent there, then you could do well. And it's a long-term business. Like, it's like you do it with integrity, you do it with honesty, you take care of people, and one listing, next listing, and next listing, and you got to go avalanche your listing.
Yeah. And referrals, that's the thing. Yeah.
That's it.
Nice. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up there. Do you want to add anything before we go?
I just think I've always said that, like, you got to educate yourself. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, yeah, absolutely, it's an amazing, great business. It's not it's not going to happen. You can't come in here and then be successful tomorrow unless you've got your parents who's got developers or whatever, right? And a lot of agents, people have that. Good for them. I'm very happy for them. But majority of people are not like that. The majority of people like me started from zero scratch, nothing, right? None of their family members own houses or whatever, or maybe your family own houses, but you haven't got a whole lot of family to sell houses for, right? So what I say is, like, educate yourself, find the right place to go to, because it's very rarely, unfortunate in our business, and I'm talking about in industry as a whole, that agents actually make it. 9 out of 10 of them fail. And the one that makes it, they don't do very well either. Just do okay. So looking for the right place to go to, I think that's the way to start, and have a great mentorship, somebody who's actually going to give you every single thing that the person knows. And majority of, I think, unfortunately, I found that here, unfortunately, in Christchurch, we're going to change this, but in Christchurch, in New Zealand, scarcity mentality, the Aussies don't have that.
Interesting.
The Aussies don't have it. They will just share with you. Like, I can fly to Adelaide and get everything that Phil Harris has got. He will share with me. John McGrath will connect me with one of his agents or one of his top performing officers. He will just share with me everything. Well, when I go call John McGrath, and he can help me with everything. I like to do that for our industry here in New Zealand. I think that's a sad thing about agents and industry in New Zealand. So here we are, first episode, and we're going to change it.
We are. There's plenty of houses to sell too. Everyone can have a piece of the pie. So
100%. It's like you can live with an abundance mindset and just, okay, we can help you. We can give you everything that you want. What do you need? How can we help you? We can have that kind of mentality. We can have the scarcity mentality. That scarcity mentality is that horrible mentality to have, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just like, no, I just want everything to myself, right?
Yeah.
I think for us, we need to change this industry one person at a time. And I feel like we're doing it now quite nicely, huh?
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thanks very much. In the future, we'll be doing this weekly, about 30-minute podcasts. We also want to do a Q&A episode. So if you're a real estate agent and you have any questions, we'll be posting this on YouTube. So leave a comment. You can also email us. The email is hello@najib.re.co.nz. And if you're on any podcast streaming services, make sure you like and subscribe, support us. And yeah, thanks for listening to Next Gen Agent.
Good to see you, Bowie. See you next time.
Thank you.